episode 148 of the podcast. People ask me, where can I start? How do I do this? Where are the instructions? This week we're going to talk about a good starting point. You're listening to the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Newmeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, a certified professional dog trainer, and the owner of Happy Critters in Nashua, New Hampshire. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. Every once in a while, there's someone who has a lot of trouble understanding what I'm talking about. They just kind of can't wrap their heads around it. And sometimes I run into someone who wants a recipe, a step-by-step way to get what they need. And I hear you. I really do. I understand where you're coming from. And I think that we would all like that. Wouldn't it be great? Like, oh, step 1. Like, dog wiggles for feet. Page 82, paragraph 1. That's exactly where we're going to go. But here's the thing. Dogs are individuals and their behavior is individual too. So what works for one dog may not work for another dog. And a third dog might have an entirely different reaction. Every dog is different. So how do we address this? So one of the ways that we can address that is we can learn more about dogs. We can learn more about their body language, their wants, their needs, their likes, their dislikes. We can learn more about that individual dog. We can get a better history. We can talk to their owners about their past experiences. We can learn more about the variety of ways that dogs respond to grooming. And that's why as you have more experience, you start having more examples in your head of the way dogs have responded in the past. So having been grooming for a long time, there are a lot of times where I see something that I have seen before, and I base my plan on that. So every dog is going to be a little bit different, and we can also learn more about what makes grooming and vet care scary. Because it's not like we're trying to do something that's not scary to dogs. Obviously that's scary. That's why we have the problems. That's why there's this podcast. That's why there's so much information right now out there about holistic grooming and cooperative care and trying to help dogs be better for grooming and for vet visits and for home care, is because the stuff we're discussing dogs can find very scary. That's why. I want you to think about there's a point where you know about a dog individually, and you can talk to their owner about their past experiences, and you can also guide that conversation. We can help them understand that this is going to be something that a dog finds a little bit scary. And then maybe once you know more about that dog, once you know about their personality, their past experiences, their likes and dislikes, you can find something that's fairly step-by-step to try with that dog. Now, keep in mind, that plan that you're going to try to implement is based on guesswork. That's based on theories that you have formed from your past experience and from watching other animals and from talking to the owner and from what you understand of dog training and behavior and body language. So all of this is a theory. So let's say, for example, that I'm guessing that this dog in front of me may have some sensitivity to drying because he has an ear problem. That's my guess. I haven't even turned on a dryer yet, but let's say that's my guess. Now, I could make a plan based on lessening the amount of noise. That seems pretty reasonable. Like, okay, well, I'm going to guess that you just told me he's been having some ear issues. I'm going to guess that the sound, the volume might be a problem for him, but that's a guess. It's simply a guess. So if I did make that guess, my plan could be, and here's the thing, there are so many versions we can do. That could be a happy hoodie to help lessen the amount of sound. That could be trying a dryer brush. That could be toweling the head and letting it air dry. Think about, there are lots of things that we could try to do if our theory is that this dog needs the sound lessened. Now, let's say perhaps this dog tries to get the happy hoodie off, and it's made much more of a distraction. Maybe the happy hoodie was actually uncomfortable. The way that this dog's ear problem is happening, maybe having a happy hoodie on was actually uncomfortable. But for another dog, a happy hoodie might have been something good to try. Let's say perhaps this dog doesn't even flinch when you turn on the dryer. So you just decide to go for it and do business as usual. You've groomed this dog before and maybe he's fine. It was still nice that we thought about it, that we tried to make a plan about reducing noise if this dog's ear problem was going to make things hard for him today. But maybe he doesn't even flinch. Maybe you're like, oh, you know what? I had a plan in place. I was going to try to do X, Y, Z, but I'm going to go for it. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And you'd be surprised how many dogs would be like, yeah, all right. Yeah, no problem. Now, here's another one. Perhaps the dryer brush is something that the dog is really comfortable with or uncomfortable with because it's another piece of equipment. Just like a clipper or a Dremel or a brush or a comb, it's another piece of equipment. Maybe they're like, whoa, you're putting something weird next to my ear. Don't you know my ears are a little sensitive? And I know I'm being very anthropomorphic, but sometimes being anthropomorphic helps us to relate. Think about maybe you're feeling a little bit sick, you don't feel really good, and now someone wants to introduce a new tool or something new, and you're like, I'm not in the mood for something new. I don't feel good. Don't want new. Just do the thing the way you've always done it. I don't care about something new right now. And, kind of being a grumpy pants about it. Wow, so anthropomorphic. But I think that we can relate. I don't want you to do things differently. Dogs like to know exactly what's going to happen. A lot of dogs really like the predictability of this is the way things are done. They're like little kids and this is structure. So if they're feeling a little bit ill, if they have an ear problem or something like that, they may still really crave the same way we always do it. And that's why it's really difficult to come up with a solution that's going to fit every need. It's not as simple as what do I do when a dog pulls away? Well, why is he pulling away? Why? It's the why. What does he like and dislike? How can we help him understand that this is safe? So I think what you're going to see is that there isn't just one thing to try, and that there isn't necessarily one goal either, because I think that we as groomers tend to think, I want to get this job done. And I know that that's changing a lot. There's really been a shift in the past couple years for groomers to be thinking, no, I want them to be comfortable with it so that then I can make the change. And that's really important. Let's get away from the idea that we need to have some sort of like a step-by-step recipe and start thinking more about, okay, what is this individual? What makes him tick? And how can I help him be better for future groomings? For a lot of future groomings, for a lifetime of grooming and vet care. And I know we talk about grooming super heavily here, of course, because this is the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast, but also veterinary care and care at home. When dogs are better for grooming, they also start becoming better for those things too. And I can't tell you how often one of my own grooming customers says the vet is thrilled at how nice my dog is when they go to the vet. Like, okay, well, we need to check and we need to look at something that's sore and we need to, bend this knee a whole bunch. And the dogs that I groom are super good. And partly because we've taken the time to really think about what makes them tick and how can I help them be comfortable. So even if we're looking for a recipe, if we're looking for a step-by-step, that step-by-step isn't to address the need to get a trim done. It's to address the need for the dog to feel comfortable with it. Calm, comfortable, and cooperative. The 3 C's. I feel like I mention it every single week. But the purpose is for the dog to feel like this isn't a big deal. Because when they can handle that part, we can do pretty trims. Most of the time. There are some dogs that we're just not going to try pretty trims on. But we can get the job done if they are not afraid. If we can get them past that and help them understand that everything is fine. So when people ask me for, how do I do this? Where do I start? We start with, what makes this dog tick? What is this dog worried about? And how can I help them understand that this isn't scary? If you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes, and tell all of your friends. Here is another example of where can I start. You want steps? So here it is. Step 1, be prepared to accept that it's not just the dog that has a problem. Ooh, that's tough, right? The problem of dogs not being able to handle grooming or veterinary procedures isn't just a problem with the dog. There's more going on. It's not just the dog. We don't have a dog training issue. We have a multifaceted issue. So I know someone out there, I'm pretty sure anyway, someone out there is saying to themselves, yes, it's the owners. And here we are throwing owners under the bus. I'm going to say that some of the behavior issues that we see in the grooming setting are dogs and owners who aren't prepared for the process. And that's just part of the owners needing to know more and being able to follow our instructions if we do explain it to them. But owners don't understand the process. So often what we see is no experience with tools, no experience with holding still, no experience with holding their focus for more than a minute, if you're lucky. If you're lucky, an owner has like a minute that they can hold their dog's focus. Our owners need help with helping their own dogs. So a lot of the time it's a lack of experience. Now, with owners, we also find that there are times where an owner has been trying and they've just been pushing their dog to the point where the dog tells them off and then they stop. Like, oh, well, he doesn't like it when I brush his legs. So, I brush for a while and then he gets too hard to handle, so I stop. And there's a lot into that story. There's a lot behind that story, and I think we hear it now that I say it, like, oh yeah, we hear that a lot. What does he do? What does he do when he becomes too hard for you to handle and you put the brush away? And put the brush away before he does it. Put the brush away while he's still fine. So a lot of this is going to be guiding our owners to better information, to training, to being able to talk through behavior issues with them and help them understand. So yes, there's definitely an owner component to this. Be prepared to accept that it's not just the dog. We tend to assume that it's just the dog, and we need to get away from that idea. There's a bigger issue here still. There's a much bigger issue, and it can be a tough pill to swallow. I know it was with me, so let me tell you what that issue is. The issue is us. We, the groomers, are part of the problem. And we're all at different points in our journey, and if you found your way to this podcast, you're probably pretty well versed in that problem, and maybe you're not in your own way anymore. I still find myself in my own way. And what I mean is, we as groomers are part of this dog's experience of grooming. We're part of what makes it scary. We're holding the tool. And we have to accept the fact that we're part of the scary process. And then also in our industry, we still hear things like, well, I heard all of that and I know what you're saying, but how do I make him calm? How do I make him be calm? That's the wrong question. We're not making him be calm. We're trying to teach him to be calm because this isn't scary. And there's a subtle shift there. It's not about make him be calm. Like, do I say, no, or do I say bad dog? Which thing do I say? Which way do I tie him up so that I can get the thing done? I need to get this trim done. And we get into our own head that we're selling a haircut and that owners need this haircut done. But we need to circle back. How can I help this dog be calm? How can I help this dog feel comfortable with what we're doing? How can I cooperate? Because cooperation isn't just the dog. Remember, I said we're a component. How can we cooperate to get this job done in a way that the dog is comfortable with? And then there are other questions too, like how do I get him to let me finish a beautiful trim? I hear that a lot. Like how do you get the dogs to let you do it? But that's not the right question. The right question is, why is he uncomfortable with it? What can we do to change that? And sometimes it's us. Sometimes it's us. An example, if you are moving a dog's front leg, this one happens a lot, like these doodles in their front legs. Are you trying to move that dog's leg away from its range of motion? Are you actually trying to pull a leg forward and keep it straight in a way that makes a dog have to pop up? Because they don't have that much motion in their shoulder. And every once in a while, I'm like, hey, try it this way. And the dog is totally fine. Because what was making him pop up is that you were actually torquing his leg funny. There are times when we are creating the problem. And it's a tough pill to swallow. Oh my gosh, it was for me. It still is for me. Gosh, there are times I look at video of myself and I'm like, why didn't I stop before that point? And I still do it. Which, by the way, if you want to learn more about behavior and how the grooming process is going, things like that, there are a lot of good reasons to videotape yourself. That could be just looking at your own scissor work. That could be watching the way that you interact with the dog or the things that you don't notice while you're working on a foot, things that the dog is doing. There are a lot of good reasons to videotape yourself, but you will notice things about yourself that you weren't aware you were doing at all. So be thinking about the things that we do affect this dog. It's not just the dog, it's us too. If we feel really, really rushed, a lot of dogs find that a little bit scary. Just the fact that we're being so rushed with them. This isn't the way their owners behave. Their owners are all, hey buddy, blah, 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 and talk to them and all normal. And we're like, gotta get this done, or we ignore them. That happens a lot too. For a lot of dogs, that's really alarming. Like, what are you doing touching me and not even talking to me? How weird. How strange. So we are part of the problem. So step one is to be prepared to accept that it's not just the dog who has a problem. We're not going to spend time making him be calm, spending time forcing trims on dogs who are literally telling us that this is uncomfortable or scary is the problem. Straight up, that's what creates the problem, is that we're trying to force trims on dogs or force grooming onto dogs who are literally telling us, this scares me, this is uncomfortable, please go away, get out of my space, or let me leave. Because that's what aggression is. Get out of my space or let me leave. That's what the fight, flight, or freeze does. Get away from me. I don't want to interact with you. So when we keep pushing and pushing and pushing, we create the problem. So how do we address this with our owners? Well, there are lots of ways to address this, but one of the ways that I had to this week, as an example from my own week, I was talking to an owner and I said, she did really well, but I did not finish XYZ because she did really well. And she's like, well, if she did really well, why didn't you finish? Because I was able to keep her as calm, comfortable, and cooperative as possible, but she is braced the entire time. So in this dog's head, this dog is almost like we're walking her through a haunted house. Imagine she is braced the entire time, waiting for someone to pop out of the corn maze with a chainsaw. This is the way this dog sees the grooming process. So my whole goal is to get priority things done and to try to help her be calm and be relaxed. And I was successful with that. But I also made a judgment call. I have a theory and I stuck with it, that if I just continued, I would push her past what she could handle. And frankly, that's not good for her. It's not good for the owner. It's not good for the whole process. It can be a tough sell, but for this owner to hear, we know her history, we know what she's done in the past, and we know that making progress is really important for her because she's actually a dog who, when she gets afraid, tries to hurt people. And so sometimes you need to have the tough talk with people. If we don't address this issue, this dog will become very aggressive about grooming because she's been borderline before, and she will reach a point where no one will groom her. The woman looked horrified. She had no idea that was an option. What? I'm like, there will be a point, if we don't address this, where she will become dangerous for groomers to groom. And groomers are going to say, no, thank you. You may move along and go find another groomer. She literally had no idea that a groomer could just say no, that you might not be able to find a groomer for your large dog who tries to bite when you turn on a dryer. So sometimes we have to step back and we have to help an owner understand. But for this dog, what makes this dog tick is that she's had people pile on her, tie her down, make it so that she can't bite, and continue doing terrifying things. That's the problem that we're still seeing in this industry, and no one was trying to be mean. This isn't a judgment call about trying to be mean, but it certainly wasn't helping her become comfortable or cooperative. And now there's a chance to backtrack and start that process over. And it means letting go of beautiful, pretty trims. It means letting go of making the owner happy in many cases. This owner, I think by the time she left, she was happy because she understood that we're making progress, and this is because we care about her dog. We care about her. We care about her dog. This is in her best interest. And the things that we didn't get to today, we can get to at a separate appointment instead of trying to do everything in one sitting. So we have to be able to adjust what we do. We have to let go of some of this, I need to make him calm. How do I make him calm? Some of us are just way too tightly wound. We all need to calm down and think about the dog, this individual dog, and come up with our theories, try to come up with some guesses. What do I think is happening? How can I help this dog? Help this dog. That's the key. How do we help? If you'd like more information, you can find me at Chrissy@happycritters.net, happycrittersdogtraining.com, or you can join the Facebook group, Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast, or the Facebook page, Creating Great Grooming Dogs. I really look forward to hearing from you. If you're ready to go beyond the podcast, and I hope you do, I've made it really easy for you. If you go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step, you'll see all of the options. There's the Scholar Lounge community, there's the Modern Grooming Professional certification, there's Master Canine Stylist and Professional Canine Stylist diploma testings, there's the Behavior Lab for coaching and private one-on-one sessions with me, and of course, the Master Groomer Behavior Specialist program. So go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step.